You can make a throwing knife out of a lot of different materials, a lot of different shapes. This is our plan. We're also going to make some out of aluminum and bronze and test them out. So make sure to subscribe so you can see those videos coming up. We're going to cut it out and get our profile. Now we're going to start grinding in the bevels. Because it's a throwing knife, the bevels aren't going to be super long, and we're probably only going to harden the top part. It's important to make sure that your angles are the same. That way, everything will line up right there. You'll get a nice, perfect line there at the tip. I decided to freehand it, get some practice in. It's a throwing knife, it can be a little rough. We're going to try to make a dagger here in the future. If you have any tips or ideas for me to do, leave a comment below, let me know, and we can see if we can try it out. So we got most of it ground in, our bevels. I think it looks pretty good. We're going to do a little bit of hand sanding just to give it a good finish, because I don't want to sand much after the heat treat. So we'll do some hand sanding, then heat treat it, then we should be good to go. The last belt that we used on the grinder was 150, so we're going to jump up to 220, and I think that's as high as we're going to go. We're going to leave a little bit of a rougher finish on this because it is a throwing knife. It will get scratched up and thrown around quite a bit. We're going to etch our logo here on it. If you haven't seen a video on how to etch metal, so far I've done it on copper, brass, aluminum, steel, and they all have a slightly different finish that comes out of them. So check out that video. I'll post it down below in the description. But here we're just using a 9-volt battery and some salt water. I'm going to end up heating up the whole blade, give it a little bit of color, and then we'll make sure to heat treat this top part. I'm not going to heat treat all of it. We're not trying to get a super sharp edge, mostly just the tip that's going to hit the wood. So that's about as much as we're going to heat treat. I'm using just canola oil, and that should do the trick for $10.95. Now we're going to let it cool down, and then we're going to temper it for 2 hours at 450 degrees. This is important so that it doesn't shatter when it hits the log. This is what it looks like the next morning after the temper. I think it's good to go. You can see the edge is hardened. My throwing skills, though, need a little work. I could only do it sideways. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the videos about a bronze and aluminum throwing knife.